Good morning, folks. I guess we'll hang in there for wait a few people to show up. Just to let you know, we got our comments on slow mode, and I could review any comments that come in, and I could attack them if they're not appropriate comments, and if you're not abiding by my laws of my channel. So it's on slow mode. So by the time you post your comments, I get to read it and decide if they stay on or not. Okay, with that being said, let's give us. I hate repeating myself all the time. I can be quite redundant. I'm known for that. And I don't necessarily like being redundant. It's a waste of oxygen, and we all need oxygen, don't we? I only want to say things once and not have to repeat. Anyway, again, here goes my redundancy. It's just me. I got my comments on slow mode. Therefore, if your comments are inappropriate, I will see them before they're actually posted and I will deal with them. Okay. I'm just waiting for a few more people to show up here, actually. We'll have a little discussion today. Okay. Now, we don't necessarily want to promote somebody's channel, but if I happen to mention channel or names, it's because it might be relevant to talk about. No more than that. No more than that. It seems a couple of YouTubers we're familiar with have jumped aboard on our Boracay friends' defense, and that would be Kenny and Subic, an expat prepper. I'll say it again. It's the redundancy. Expat prepper and Kenny and Subic have joined the Boracay baboon support on his channel. Goes to show you where these guys come from, right? Now, what is all the hoop-de-doo about this guy who generally likes to hail from Boracay, or however you want to pronounce it? Don't matter to me either way. It's only because it's in the guy seems that okay. Is there jealousy? Okay, I forgot to caption my show here, but I don't think necessarily that people are necessarily jealous that somebody's making money on their show. I think the criteria is how they're making their money. Okay, there's a big difference. Now you could wish somebody well and say, "Hey, may the force be with you," and make money. That's what it's all about, right? Sure, that's why anybody has a show on at all. It's not because they just like hearing their voice. It's not because they really want to give out good advice. It's not because they're truthful. It's money. You know it. And I know it. I mean, if you got it, look, you come. Okay, I think the general formula, as you all will know, is that you get these expats that come to the Philippines and they put together some money. And I did. That's called putting your ducks in a row initially. But how are you going to sustain yourself? That's the other question. Now, if you come to the Philippines with a little sack of cash, okay, that's only going to last you for so long. How much, if you have a pension or other resource, how much is it? That's the other thing to actually explore. And you can't necessarily always survive very well or live the high lifestyle that you'd like to live. So you have to do a YouTube channel. And a lot of people, unfortunate for them, have to rely on having a YouTube channel in order to supplement the very little minuscule money that they do make. Maybe their money from the sale of their house, or maybe they put a few bucks in the bank. They think that's going to last them a long time. Then they come here and they find out that, oops, I don't know, was that expensive here? I mean, wasn't this a third world country? What the fuck? I mean, how much is that bottle of soda? Are you kidding me? That's the reaction. But then they get used to it. But whether they get used to it or not, these are the prices they have to pay out here. So then they realize that, well, I can't live the high lifestyle that I thought I was going to live. Oops, again. So I put on a show. And it's not that the people are making money. And there are people that are jealous of other people making money, that's for sure. But on the other hand, it's a question. How are they making money? Are they a legitimate channel? Are they just doing 7-8 shows a day, insulting people saying that they're God's gift to Filipino women. I've got all these women. They're identifying them as a fatty or a baddie, which is insulting to Filipinos, making that judgment on that alone, on their weight. And you got somebody in their mentality of a whole different generation, which is in their 40s, trying to act like a gangster. That's where people draw the line. Now, I think if this gentleman, and I use that term very loosely, came on a show and he legitimately got all his subs, not because of drama, not because he's trying to profess that he's an expert on the Philippines after only being here 8 months. He's an expert on Filipinas, and he's had all these women, which we don't, you know, we don't buy that, do we? We don't buy that. The guy's not a good-looking guy, and you know who we're talking about. The guy's losing his hair, has dark eyes, close set together. And he says that if anything, he's chasing them away. And I usually joke on that. Well, you know, all these women are after him, and it's because he's trying to put out some money to impress them, or maybe he ran away with their purse. Yeah, maybe that's the reason they're so-called chasing him. But, you know, if you have a legitimate show, I mean, there's so many legitimate shows out there. I could go through a whole laundry list with that. Well, you know what? Boracay, for what I've seen, and I haven't been there, and I've seen enough on Boracay to fill me up for 10 years. Problem with Boracay is not that it doesn't have any nice beaches. It's just that it's so touristy and so crowded, then vendors hitting you up every 5 seconds and everything else. Me and Gil have always, we say, well, we were just about actually to make a trip, but then her eldest daughter, who was staying here a while, had to go back. Her boyfriend's coming back in from another country and had to go back to Cebu. Got to have an adult here to watch her 2 kids. So that trip is out the window for now, unfortunately. So that's unfortunately what happens. Can't leave 2 underage children alone. So I would never consider Boracay as a destination. Not because it's known for this real asshole that was trying to promote Boracay as if he was working for the Department of Tourism. If anything, he was chasing people away. But I know enough about Boracay to know that it is much too touristy for my likes. And that's just my likes. That's just my personal. Yeah. Go to Station 1. It's quiet and peaceful. Nah, I mean, it's just not. Look, if it was just beaches alone that I was interested in, I don't have to go anywhere. You're forgetting, I'm about I don't know, let's just say conservatively, 15-minute walk from my doorstep to some of the nicest white sand beaches. It's not beaches alone. There has to be some more character to, even my beaches here, the only time they're crowded is during religious holidays or the weekends, of course, is the most time that tourists will come here. But during religious holidays and other holidays, this place gets pretty packed. But the good thing about it here is that the beaches are so expansive here. There's it stretches out to different areas, so people are kind of spread out. But it's not like India, you know what I mean, where every 2 feet there's a human. That's what Boracay is like, and I've seen enough videos and everything about Boracay to make an intelligent statement about that. I just really, if it was beaches alone, then I wouldn't have to go anywhere. There has to be something about the town that could get my attention. Some natural wonder, some real historical thing that I find really interesting, But then somebody kind of ruined your vision of it when this guy came along, just like, for example, it's a psychological thing. For example, Bohol. There's somebody in Bohol I really don't like very much. It has stained my brain as far as his geographical location, that I wouldn't go there simply because, and I'm sure there's really nice places in Bohol, and I know there is. Forget the chocolate hills. Fuck that shit. Dumb place to visit. To see a bunch of mounds in the ground. I've seen enough mounds in the ground when I went to Hawaii. We got those cinder cones in Hawaii, which far, far, far outdo the chocolate hills of Bohol. If you've seen what I have seen up close and personal, formed by volcanic ash and so forth, cinder actually, incredible to see. I could see doing that, and I don't care about the monkeys in the hall. It's not enough of a tourist attraction to, even if I didn't like the individual who lives there, uh, it's just not enough for me. It's not enough for me. Yeah, I don't know. I've been to Bohol one time. I've been there one time. Tagbilaran, whatever. That was enough for me. I didn't get a chance to explore it, but it's just the way I am. If somebody's putting a stain on the place, it's in my mind thinking I'm not going to promote or go to this place because it reminds me of that person. And I just put it on my shit list. Really, I just although there's people living in Baguio, some real asshole out there that I don't like, that wouldn't prevent me from going to Baguio. But I thought about Baguio, and the conclusion I came from that was that, again, it is really overcrowded. The pollution does hit its way there pretty bad. Transportation sucks as far as getting around. You really have to find a way to get around there. There really isn't. The only interest I would have in Baguio, well, there's two interests. One, that it's cooler, which is a big plus for me, absolutely. And the fact that they got all these strawberry fields and shit there, and you go out there and they do grow a lot of crops, different things at that elevation that grow in full that you can't get at sea level, and that's a draw. But then again, you could get a lot of these products in the markets. If you search around, go to Cologne, other places, which, a lot of them, they do get their stuff from Baguio. Excuse me, in other places. So, like I said, I really still haven't pinpointed anywhere I want to go. Surigao, it's just too much to get to Surigao. That was something I was going to check out, but it's just too much transportation to get there from where I live. Okay, so it has to do with convenience for travel, how many forms of transportation, how long it's going to get there. Because I really have no patience. I don't mind traveling. I love to travel, but it's according what do I have to do to get there and why I'm willing to go through that much. That what's so interesting and intriguing about this particular place that would make me want to travel a half a day or more just to get there and just get disappointed when I get there. That's just me. Oh, let's see. Well, Sexpat Hunter, you're right to a point. It's just the way it is with me. Hate is a big word, by the way. There's only certain people I actually hate on here. I don't hate them. I may dislike people, but if I use the word hate, then I mean it. Dislike is a commonality with me. Dislike. There's a lot of people I dislike on here. Hate, you've had to done something pretty heinous continuously for me to have any hate for somebody. Hate is a very harsh word. Okay, let's see now. Surigao is only a 30-minute plane ride from Cebu City. I've seen somebody traveling there, but I guess maybe I didn't see where they were starting from. You got to understand, it could take almost 6 hours. Let's see, 5 to 5.5 hours from where I live just to get to Cebu City. Okay, that's a trip enough right there. That's with a grab taxi. Once you get to the other side of the pond, and so forth and so on. I'm just very particular and specific on what I like to do. Sometimes I have to force myself to do something that maybe I gave second thought about. I mean, just this morning I got up and I went right on the treadmill. Because if I had to think about it, I wouldn't get on it. I find treadmills extraordinarily boring. That's why I do my exercises in 15-minute increments, which is fine. That's only 0.6 something, over a half a mile each time, but you do it 3 times a day and you're getting to where you need to be initially. You don't have to be bored. Now, I don't have a TV in my exercise room, but we got a Bluetooth speaker with a separate pad that you can pump music, whatever in there. That helps. Or I got this little plastic holder on the wall or suction to the window where I could put my phone in there and I could listen to a show, I could listen to music, I could whatever. That helps. But yeah, you see the difference between the treadmill and walking outdoors is that your mind is more occupied and you're not really thinking about time and steps really. When you're outside, you're walking the length of a beach or in town or whatever, your mind is preoccupied. You're not thinking about how far you're walking necessarily, but your mind is occupied by your visuals. When you're on a treadmill, it gets the job done, as Chris and Sabu likes to say. but it's boring. But I will continue to use it nevertheless. But um, just that time goes by so slowly on a treadmill. Did I reach 15 minutes yet? Did I reach 30? Why does it seem like an hour? When it's only been, far less than that. I'm going to bring a clock in the room next time and see if that machine is actually giving me the appropriate time on there, because I tell you what, even 15 minutes. And by the way, you don't need a lot. You do 15 minutes 3 times a day, that ain't going to kill you. That's not going to kill you. It makes it a lot easier. Then you could graduate if you want to go to a higher speed, you can go to a longer distance. You acclimate to the situation. But again, being outdoors on a beach or somewhere, your mind is occupied, and you could handle doing a lot of walking, getting your steps in, getting that cardio and doing a brisk walk makes it easier. But having a treadmill, it's great because there's no excuse anymore. If it ain't too hot, you complain about it's too hot out, too humid, or it's raining out, or whatever. There's no excuse because you just spent the money on a piece of equipment. If you want to get your money's worth, and it's right there, it's speaking out to you, it's saying, hey, you bought me for a reason, pal. You bought me for a reason. Now use me. Use me. Unless you're going to be a clothes hanger. And, a lot of people do that. Yeah, I am. I am keeping it up. No guarantee I'm going to live forever. But you know what? I mean, first of all, if you've seen that brew I had in the morning, I mean, you wouldn't believe it. Now, Gilda's daughter was kind enough when she went to Thailand on a work-related deal to bring back these tins of Thai tea. One of them is called Thai green tea, Thai actually milk green tea, and the other one was a very strong Thai tea, which is probably just a black tea. And what I'll do is I'll take the milk green tea from Thailand, mix it in with my Lipton green tea, then I throw all that turmeric in there, and black pepper and whatever I put in it. If I want to put honey, boy, what a potent tea that is. It's not for everybody, and I don't necessarily drink it for taste, but it's some pretty heavy-duty stuff with polyphenols and all kinds of stuff. That's how I start my day. Do I have any cigarettes in the morning? Yeah, I do. Like I said, folks, I'm not perfect, and I never pretend to be, and I never will pretend to be perfect to you or anybody out. I admit my faults when they are due, okay? I do. But at least I'm doing something positive, which I think more people on here need to do. It's not just their diet, but it's their attitude. Now, we talk about that guy from Boracay. By the way, he's staying at the Horizon 101, and how do I know that? Well, guys, how about if I told you I've been at Horizon 35 times? That might be a low number. 35 times. I know the views from the window. Because of the height of where he is, that's the tallest building in the area on Mango. And I've seen his window seen out there. And there's a big school over to the left-hand side, red and yellow, with a big courtyard. And I know exactly where he is. And he's probably on the 40-something floor, either 43 or 46. I know. He's at Horizon 101. So if anybody wants to have a cup of tea with him, you know where he is. And why does anybody talk about this guy at all? It's not that we're trying to purposely give him popularity. It's just that when somebody that arrogant comes on and pisses on Filipinos the way he does and has this attitude that really sucks, the arrogance, the cockiness, we've been through that already, right? Certain people. And, as a foreigner, I guess he's supposed to be Armenian. Nothing to say about Armenians. I'm going to shut my mouth. But comes here and acts like he's got it all, when we know he's surviving on his donations. Every person that comes here, they come with a little pocket of money. They think it's going to last forever, and it doesn't happen. So he gets on there and says, well, what's the best way to... When he first started out, I heard he wasn't like that at all. So he figured out that, well, the old key formula is just about everybody on here. Let's create drama. There we go. Warren Buffett is 93, but has the diet of a kid. Drinks 6-pack of Coke a day. That's called genetics. Genetics. You either got the good genes or you don't. There are people that smoke cigarettes and cigars all their life and they live to be 100 years old. It's something that scientists are still exploring. Yeah, the whole genome of that person and why, with all the bad habits in the world, They outlive people that try to be healthy, yet they have the worst habits in the world. Scientists are still exploring what's going on with that. And there are many people who do that and seem to live a full, fairly healthy life. Other than the normal things that happen to you as you get older, you might lose your eyesight, you might lose your hearing, you might have joint problems, different things. But generally, they're still ticking. But you got to understand something too. Warren Buffett, okay, what really helps too is that when you have that kind of money, you can get the best health care in the world. You could have a doctor that's a live-in doctor whose whole job and his nursing staff is to take care of you, okay? You got that kind of money, that's nothing. That helps too. When you got good medical care and you monitor your blood levels, everything else, sure, that's going to give you longer life if you monitor your health, like a car, right? You take care of your car, less engine breakdowns. You avoid maintenance on your car, and you're going to have trouble with the engine and all the mechanical parts on there. I mean, same as a human, but sometimes it's genes, incredible genome. Some people are lucky that way. They're lucky that way. Not all of us could be lucky, but Now look at my channel here. 22 fucking people watching. 3 thumbs up, right? Okay. And the material that I come up with on my show is something worth listening to, but not even at my worst moments. Well, call it worst moments where I'm actually naming names and taking no prisoners. I'll get the better numbers. But compared to those kind of channels that completely devote themselves to their arrogance and so forth, those are the ones that get all the views. I've been on here for over 7.5 years. And realistically, when I come on here, there should be 500 people on my show viewing. Times I've made it up to 50 or 60 or so. But my average views on here, come on here, I get 20, 25 people, sometimes 35 on my show, sometimes a little larger. It's according to what the topic matter is. And drama gets you the views. And I really don't want to depend on drama to get my numbers up and devote the whole show to that. See? So, private doctor or medical team. Yeah. What is cyber libel and is the same as defamation of character? Well, cyber libel is just a legal terminology that captionizes what a person has done to make it a crime. Cyber means done on a computer, okay? And as far as you're asking, well, the different elements on why it's cybercrime, okay? But definitely defamation of character, things like that, absolutely. Threats, slander, all in that order. That's what it is. A lot of people think they get away with it, but, we know better than that now, don't we? We know a lot better. But like you can see, I went from 20-something down to 16. God, boy, I'm telling you, I just, no wonder. Was she do burning cardboard in the yard? God, she's rather not. She does. Anyway, she's doing that. If you want to be a complete hate channel and you want to do something on a daily basis where you don't do any shows that are nice informative stuff like I like to do, it's unfortunate, but your channel doesn't grow unless you're an extraordinary channel. We have a lot of extraordinary vloggers out there. Let's not pretend that we don't. There's too many channels out there that don't get involved in all this doxing and all that shit. They come straight forward. They could be traveling with their girlfriend and they're showing you different places they've been. They're not being arrogant. They're not being obnoxious. They're not being cocky. They make some good travel shows and they're worthwhile watching. Those people generally don't have any problems with it because they don't get into the drama. They totally avoid it. But once you put your foot into the arena, it's a done deal. And once you start doing that, it's a done deal. You're going to be labeled and stained, and you're going to get people coming in and doxing you and making up stories about you and trying to, like a snowball, to gather more snow. That little snowball becomes a giant boulder, and they try to bring in other people to hate on you. Give it up. It's not going to get any better than that. It just won't. There's no way for redemption on here. Once people label you as this and that, and like has happened with this guy from Boracay, who's now in the Cebu area, staying on Horizons 101 building, and that's exactly where he is right now, 125%. No doubt, no guesses, that's where he's at. Okay. People like this are the kind of people that you really need to go after. because those are the people that rooted for the rest of us, especially if you're living in the Philippines and you're a foreigner. It's people like this that give us a bad reputation. And that's why so many people attack them, because, they're doing things that they shouldn't be doing, in the way they're treating Filipinos, their obnoxious nature, their cockiness, their arrogance. But some people feed on that, okay? And they even reward them for doing that, which psychologically is something that has baffled all of us, I'm sure, for a long time. Why would you give money to a channel that's nothing but an arrogant bastard trying to flex his muscles? Okay, so, but I always have that train of thought that a lot of these shows, they start out successful and they're making money, they got viewers, but then they fuck up and their channel falls apart and they either have to start a new channel. They lose all their subs. This guy in particular has over 23,000 subs in 8 months. Now he's either bought them, a lot of them, I don't know, because it's very unusual in just 8 months to make that many viewers, except if you're going to be, on Harold Balder's show like Tim K did and have a young Filipino on your show. Yeah, you could probably get a lot of subs. Are they really earning it that way? It's depending on how you look at it. It's everybody's choice if they want to sub to your channel or not. Okay. Now, if you appeared on somebody who's very popular and famous, appeared on their show, and people find an interest in you, and they know what your channel name is, they may decide, if it was a good interview, something to go over to your channel and sub to you, simply because you were on this other famous guy's channel. That's how it works on here. Who's worse for the Philippines? Sick Grandpa. He's the worst. Big Shot. He's the worst. There's your answer for that. I would say that Jasper comes in just behind him a little bit. But the way things work out all the time? It always does. It seriously does. All these guys that come in here and they dox people, and they go way out of their way to do that. And some so serious that it becomes a crime. They all in the end fail. Something always happens to their channel, to them personally, that changes their life, and you don't hear from them anymore. Who is going to go out? Oh yeah, black dude. There's a black dude that was on that didn't like Popeye at all. And he threatened Popeye. And then Popeye wasn't on for a long time after that. The guy knew where Popeye lived. You see these cowards like Popeye with the big mouth and everything else, but when push comes to shove, they're cowards. And then Popeye ran away. He didn't come on for a long time. And I've seen this happen to him several times, actually. So, all talk, no walk. Yeah, that's my answer. I think Ricky is probably one of the more current pieces of shit on YouTube history. No doubt. He knows what he does wrong. But when you're that desperate to make money and get views and subs, when you need that kind of attention all the time, you make mistakes. Like Barry did. He was so desperate that he took chances as to what he said or displayed on the show. And it ultimately led to his demise. Again, where is he now? As a result of what he did on the show. Not everything ends like a fairy tale story. I wish you'd put that shit out. It still makes its way in the house here, that damn burning smoke. Anyway, never ends up well for them. But you gotta understand, these people don't learn until something actually happens to them. It's the only way there's no other way. There's no other way of stopping their bullshit. It just isn't. Look, I've been on here a long time. I know that. Until something goes down. Oh, then they think differently. Then they get scared. They say to themselves, fuck, I fucked up. Yep. It's the only way it works. Unfortunately, Stuart said if Ricky didn't get involved with that Free Barry thing, Barry would most probably be back in the U.S. by now. No, he wouldn't. What is it you don't understand about 5 counts of cybercrime, Stuart? What is it you don't understand about that? Barry did not have a chance from the beginning because I stepped in. That's how he became involved with the Bureau of Immigration, why he's in a cell. Because I put him there. But not only did I put him there for what I presented to the Bureau of Immigration, but had an attorney to make it even sweeter and got 5 counts of cyber libel crime on him. So you're a little bit misunderstanding there, Stuart. Out of what Ricky did, his involvement with donations and all that was not going to stop what was inevitable for Barry. Not at all. I don't even know who the hell David Bond is. I've heard that name being tossed around here and there. I have no clue. Well, 31 anyway. How about some thumbs up, folks? I have no idea who David Bond is. I don't really care. Look, I don't want to get too involved with every YouTuber on here and all the bullshit they create. Let's just face the fact that most YouTubers that are doing well on here are doing well for one or two reasons. Because they deserve the subs and donations they get because of the content, or they're taking the other route out by going by way of drama. And we know how many lonely people there are out there that live their lives like a television show. Before computers came along and things like YouTube came along, they were most likely sitting down with their mommy watching General Hospital and Days of Our Lives. This is no different than that. It's just a modern day version of television soap operas. That's all it really is. Well, there's a lot of people that get away with cyber crime. It's because people, even like a lot of my own viewers here, I have no problem even telling my viewers that you're a piece of shit. If, they want, Barry likes to call me Deputy Dog. So let's use that name. They think I'm Deputy Dog, and they don't want to get their hands dirty. Let Frank do it. Let somebody else do it. I don't buy into that shit, man. You got a gripe with somebody out there, you take care of it yourself. As I said on a not too long ago broadcast, I said, I'm not your policeman, okay? I'm only taking care of business as it pertains to me. As it pertains to me on what violations they have made against me and me only. And I'll say it again on my show here. Same damn thing. You got a gripe with somebody out there? Handle it. Don't run to me. Just because I've been successful so far, especially one of my endeavors, don't run to me. That's your problem. I know they love drama, and I'll be back in a few minutes. Okay. Where was I? Let's see. Let me tell you a little secret here, Oh, please. I've already done that. I'll tell you one thing. I have to give you a little warning. If you're going to be on a regiment of olive oil before you go to bed at night, be prepared for a morning blowout, which is a good thing, too. Cleans out your system, but it does have health benefits for sure. It could even save your life. That's all I'm going to say. Don't want to get any more graphic than that. Allowing people to be themselves. The secret of my success. That should be a book. See, it was by no accident that, I allowed Barry to say everything he wanted to say on his show about me. I encouraged it. Okay? And that was the method to my madness, as I call it, is to allow the perpetrator, to do what they do best. Insult, threaten, etc. Let them do it as often as they can, okay? Then, in the meanwhile, you're gathering all that evidence because they're on camera for all to see, and you record it, put it on an SD card or memory stick, whatever you work with, and you got the evidence. Now, I have a guy that I kind of call my informant, and we don't always agree with each other, and I use the same words. Look, give me a little credit, I tell him. I said, there's a method to my madness. He would tell me, no, don't do that. Don't do that. But if I didn't do that, as he was referring to, I wouldn't have got where I am today. But there is a method to my madness on here. I let people do whatever they want to do. I encourage them. I encourage them to threaten me. I encourage them to call me different things and make allegations against me. It gives me the opportunity to record this material and put it together. And where I can now utilize in a court of law at one point or another, or certainly as a stepping stone to make the police report, to be then referred to a higher office. And there you go. Proof of the pudding is Mr. Barry Lee Jordan in jail right now. So yes, there is a method to my madness, as I like to coin that phrase, on everything I do on here. Everything. I know how to get people's goat. I don't have to do a lot. I just go on and do a show and that gets their goat. Ricky would like to see me just delete my channel, but I don't do what Ricky says. I may not come on YouTube anymore. I'm not going to delete the whole channel. It took a lot of work to do that. But, sure, he'd love that because, the opposition wouldn't be there. But every dog has its day, and they will have their day like Barry has. And Barry is miserable right now. Trust me when I say that. He's absolutely miserable. Miserable. Well, yeah, I'm quite... I don't know how long you've been listening to me, but if you really absorbed everything I did on here, I do it for a reason. There's some stuff I've done that I totally admit has been choreographed to get reaction. Because I'm kind of a student of human nature. I've said that years ago to you guys. It's kind of a hobby in a way. I really do like examining human nature. After all, I'm living with humanity. So why not try to be an expert on human nature? and study it. You could help define yourself by doing that. It could help you define others, find their weak points. Find their weak points. That's a little hint. Find somebody's weak points and hone in on it. Take fire. That's what you do. I did that with Barry the whole time. I did that with most of my audience. Really. I said things that I wanted to say that was either planned or unplanned, or was choreographed, and just to see what kind of reaction I would get from the rest of YouTube. And through the 7.5 years plus I've been on YouTube, I must say, it worked just about every single time. Just about everything from the tree in Hawaii, everything from, oh God, Starbucks, and just so many incidents. Everything was choreographed for reaction. You think I'm lying about that? No, I'm not. I told you, I could play people's games as well as they try to play with me. I make an art out of it. It's poetry in motion. Poetry in motion. They don't even realize it's happening to them. It's like somebody who gets shot with a bullet. They didn't know they got shot because they didn't see the bullet hole in the blood. But once they lay eyes on the bullet hole and they see that they're bleeding, all of a sudden they react. That's kind of the way I work. They don't know they're being shot unless they actually see the bullet wound. You follow me so far? Can you understand that philosophy? And just think about what I just said. Okay, you'll understand me better. Like I said, there's a method to my madness. Have I screwed up sometimes and let my guard down? Oh, I sure did. Many times. See, I admit if I'm right and I admit if I'm wrong. I admit if I screwed up. Always have. I'm not a narcissist in any form or way, and I don't try to be. I just do a show. You like me, you don't. You could tune in or tune out. Yeah, I do subtle baits and stuff, and not that I'm being a bad man baiting somebody. I will only do that. I will only do that, and make a note of that. I will only do that if this person has crossed the line with me. Did I go into action? It's like I don't even have to think about it. It just comes to me naturally. What do I do to put this person in the position I want? I already did that with Ricky. Ricky didn't even know what was hitting him. I already did that with Ricky and more. He don't realize that he's in trouble. He don't realize most definitely in the auspices of the legal system. Bad enough he started with Fazio. He's on record now. That's right, Ricky has a record out here. Not good for a foreigner, my friends. Not good for a foreigner to have a record out here. Okay? That's where he goes wrong. That's where he went wrong. Doing what he did in the first place. And then knowing that he has a record, that he's that cocky and that arrogant to continue on the same path of destruction that got him there in the first place. So what I do is I just allow them to do their shows, let them say what they're going to say, and I just record it for future use or for current use. It's very simple. Let them say what they want. The more, the merrier. The more, the merrier. I'm not insulted by certain things people say, but excuse me. God, I'm going to put that shit out there. Bucket of water. Right near my bedroom. Well, 25 feet from my bedroom window. Jesus Christ, I'm burying anything. Ridiculous. I just give them that poetic license to do what they want to do. That's all. That works out fine. It's simple, guys. I mean, but when you're dealing with a bunch of simpletons, it's really easy to pull this over on. Yeah, it is true. I do take notes. Not as bad as Warren always did. But if it's noteworthy, I note it. But there's got to be visual. There has to be a visual on this. I don't bother using it. The truth is, and it is the truth, no face, no case is it's real out here. They won't even entertain anything. Unless the person is on that video. And they don't go by voice alone. No, they don't. They can't. Yes, you can deny. You can deny that it's your own voice. And because of all the AI going on, the system allows you to get away with that shit. I mean, you could go off camera and say everything you want about me, and guess what? It works both ways. I can't use anything against you. And same with me, they can't use anything against me if I spoke out of line on something. Nope, don't work. It doesn't work that way. And unfortunately for many asswipes on here, they go directly on camera and they Give me all the evidence I could ever possibly need. So I worry about people like Ricky, of his nature and sorts? Hell no. Never intimidated by him. I never will. I got more on him right now that, well, let's just say it's going to work for me. Leave it at that. I told you I don't want to talk about any legal matters on my show and get too personal on that kind of shit. The only thing I'm going to get personal about is to tell you if I had a workout, how it's working out for me. Things like that, okay? Things like that. Maybe a walk on the beach is fine. I'm not going to show family members anymore. I learned my lesson. Learn my lesson, Will. Yeah, sometimes you got to learn the hard way, my friends. You got to learn the hard way. But that's how you become, knowledge is power. You use that knowledge, not money, but use that knowledge as power. Okay? And everybody has some part of their brain, if they're able to use it, that is very analytical. Now, generally, I'm not a big analytical person, but when I gear my brain cells into one direction or person who has offended me in some way or matter, all my brain gray matter goes to that direction. That's where I decide what is my plan of action. Should I just leave it be? Just consider that there's just a bunch of idiots and don't bother with it. Don't stress yourself out. Just fuck it. Don't get involved. Sure, you can do that. But like I said, there's this line. I use this imaginary line in the sand that if they go over that line, that I already made up my mind what needs to be done. Well before that happens. I just wait for them to go over that line, like I did with Barry, and I'm now doing with Ricky. Ricky doesn't take me seriously. He doesn't actually take anybody seriously. Well, actually, he does. Mick Fisher's seen him. He was like a little coward. He started apologizing to Mick Fisher. Is that his name, Mick Fisher? Yeah. How about that time Ricky was in Thailand and the guy was sitting at a table, ran into him, the guy that didn't like him at all. And he became really apologetic to the guy. The guy probably wanted to punch him out. Other time in a bar, he approached another guy. I told him to get the fuck away from me. And not if you remember that incident. Let's say that Ricky is very lucky that he's standing on his own 2 feet, because what he's done to insult so many people in 2 countries, he's really, really lucky. Only because he kisses up to them. Oh, okay. I was wrong. I apologize. Yeah, how serious were you when you were making these fucking statements to people? How serious were you then? All of a sudden you back down? Are your guns locked and loaded like Brevis guns are? Fucking coward. These people don't last long. This channel don't last long. Everything has a beginning. They can have an abrupt ending. People go down in flames like Barry Jordan. But they think that, well, that's not going to happen to me. That's where they're wrong. Do I think that Foz has a high? I think he does. And I think that's why he's living in a $240 a month piece of shit apartment over in Tupelo in Mandawi. That's why. Because he doesn't want to spend a lot of money on trying to impress people with his so-called 4-star luxurious places that he goes to. Because now he could go over to the local supermarket and or S&R, which is not a terribly long walk away, and buy his food, and maybe he has a little cooking facility in his little apartment there to save money. Long gone on the fancy dinners anywhere, because he's in preparation for the possibility that there's going to be at least 30,000 American dollars taken out of his own pocket, and he don't want that to happen. Well, by Philippine terms out here, payments and lawsuits are not generally big, okay, but it's whatever the court system wants to allow, okay. Generally, maybe $1 million pesos, 1.5, something like this tops. So that's still 25,000 or so dollars, but still, that's a lot of American money no matter how you look at it. How many of you out there have in your savings account $20,000 to $30,000 just sitting there? How many? Raise your hand. Maybe some of you do. I don't know. The average person don't. The average American doesn't. They're lucky if they have 500 in their bank savings. They're lucky if they have anything in their savings account these days, because inflation has torn them apart. Yeah. That's why he has to eat fresh fruit. If you got a dorm fridge, you can only put beverages or something in there. Sex Bet Hunter says 50 to 100,000. I don't know about that. Oh, pesos. I can't predict the future. We'll see when it happens. The bottom line is that he doesn't want to put out any money. He's in preparation for the worst. Truthfully, with all this happening, immigration should get involved and just kick his ass out of the fucking country. That's when you think. That's why I'm going to help immigration out a little bit. Whoops, I slipped. This is the kind of person that because they've already established a record, and they're a foreigner, and they established a record in the Philippines already, those are the ones that should not be allowed back into the country. They should be deported. It might be coming down to that with the administration out here because one mistake, you're an overburned steak. Okay, you're an overburned ribeye as far as the administration out here is concerned. If you make one mistake where you have to go to court on some kind of matter, may come down to that. But not everybody gets away with everything on here. That's a certain kind of amount of cocky attitude that people do on here. And they think they get away with it. You think Jasper? You think there's going to be a good ending for Jasper? Jasper went too far. Did I mention he's staying on maybe the 40-something floor on Horizon 101 on Mango? Did I happen to mention that? Did I happen to mention I've been there about 35 times? I could definitely tell you that the view from his window is exactly Horizon 101. That's where he's at. You got balls? Confront him. You got balls to steal? Talk shit about him, but you don't want to walk the walk? Then don't talk about him. I'll tell you where he's at. Horizon 101. 100%. No doubt. No speculation. He's at Horizon 101. Over in Mango. How do I know? Well, 35 visits to that place over the years, which I don't go to anymore, but I just didn't like the roach situation, no matter where I stayed in that building, no matter how young the building is. But I know that building inside and out. 35 visits to that building. I know every view on every floor. And I can tell you with education that that's exactly where he's at. Well, Brevis, I believe, is in the Avita Tower number 2, if you want to know that. If you want to visit Brevis, a good place to start. AVIDA, Avita Towers number 2. Avita Towers number 2. All right. How do I know all this stuff? I just do. Avita Towers number 2. That's a good place to start. Pretty reliable information. Avita Towers number 2 for Brevis. And Jasper is Horizon 101 at the moment. Okay. And who's supporting this Jasper guy? Well, we found out that Kenny and Subic is supporting him. We found out that Expat Prepper is supporting. Now, look at the two losers that are supporting Jasper. You see how birds of a feather flock together? There you go. You talk that over with Kenny and Subic and Expat Prepper when you want. Don't talk to me about it. You can question them why they're a proponent of Jasper in the Philippines. Jasper Uni looks like a taller version of Matt Wilkie. Yeah, I haven't seen Matt Wilkie in a while to remember exactly what he looks like. I do, yeah, kind of. Yeah, my memory's coming here. A little bit, yeah. A little bit. Did you know it's a true story? That, let me see, where was Barry at the time? He was at Virgie's place in Wildwood. And this is the truth. He got caught masturbating. He was behind a broken down wooden fence looking at some very young teenage girls. And he was approached by a Filipino guy. All right, you want the real story? I got nothing to lose at this point. Barry got a bottle over his head. If you're wondering why he got the bottle over his head, it's because a Filipino, not an American, not a foreigner, busted a bottle. It was a bottle they were drinking at the time, a beer bottle, right in the neighborhood. It happened to do with some of the people that actually were visiting over at that little sorry stand that he used to go over there to go buy a pack of cigarettes or something from. He was always admiring this supposed bisexual girl, whatever she was, that lived there or visited there, something to that effect. Yep. He got hit over the head. Well, the guy was drunk, apparently, but coherent enough to know what Barry was doing. Apparently, Barry was behind a fence, not to be seen by anybody behind him what he was doing, but he had his pants down and his hand on his dick. So what do you think he was doing? The guy who happened to be the father of this teenager, this is information I'm releasing because I have no reason not to release it anymore, is the one that hit him over the head with the bottle. That's why he got all stitched up and everything here, because he was actually getting off behind the fence. And it's not that he was totally trying to hide himself. According to the information I got, and I'm not going to tell you where I got the information, because then I would give away my resources. It's not that he was totally trying to hide himself doing what he was doing behind that rickety fence. He actually exposed himself a couple of times to get reaction, to get himself stimulated more, to know that the girl seen his dick so he could, ejaculate. That's what happened. Our friend is a lot sicker than you think he was. There you have it. News Central released today. That's how Barry got hit on the head. Okay? There you go. That's what he did. And you're wondering why I went gung-ho on this guy to go put him in jail to get the attention of immigration and then to get a cybercrime case against him? I don't do anything because it feels good to do it necessarily. I went through a lot of hell with Barry. I went through hell with this guy. With the effort that I made in trying to get the justice system involved was nearly an impossible task. As you will find out when you decide that you don't like somebody and you want to get a case against him. You'll find out what I found out. It is not easy. However, it's really also based on how much evidence you have on the person. If you come up with some wishy-washy thing and you want to throw it in a fiscal's face because you just don't like somebody, forget about it. But if you got some really powerful shit, they have to take a look at it. It's referred to different agencies and so forth and put into writing, okay? And it's thrown off to the commissioner, which could take months and months and months, if not a year, to approve something. Okay, it's not easy. If anybody knows, I know from experience. So you know I'm not bullshitting. Barry was a bigger deviant than most people knew. And yes, the girl that was on that video that he wanted her to invite friends over, it was real. That was real. And when he lived in Minganilla, I believe it was Minganilla at the time, he lived in an upstairs apartment. He constantly had kids coming through his door. He hated that in some respect. For his privacy, he couldn't leave his door open for ventilation without some kid or somebody sticking their head in there. But what he did, as I found out from my informant, who actually physically went over there, and so did, oh my God, so did a guy from the RACU Unit 7, RAC Unit 7, accompanied my informant to that address where he was staying at. And they talked to the landlord and other people dwelling in that unit. And they said that Barry had young girls coming in and out of his apartment. There you have it. When you just think you know everything you thought about this guy, I'm laying it on you, bud. There you go. I have no reason to lie about this at all. He's already in jail. I have no reason to lie about this. Now, why wasn't he arrested at the time? Well, unfortunately, COVID. A good friend, COVID, put a fucking damper on every fucking thing, because the guy from RACU 7, okay, was supposed to coordinate with the Bureau of Immigration on getting the paperwork done for a formal arrest, but everything got fucked up. So I had a choice. Give up on this and say, fuck it, or just do a wait and see. Is Barry going to continue his shit, calling me a sexual predator? Is he going to continue threatening my life? Stuff like he did? Is he going to continue using Filipinas the way he does? Well, he continued. So I had to make a decision. Do I go forward with this? Let's just say fuck it. Well, I decided to go forward with it. There you go. Okay? Yeah, they're the same age. Well, Casper, as we'll call him, is a bigger guy than Bummer. Yeah, bigger and taller. Doesn't mean he's tough. Everybody seems to think that height and girth makes you a tough guy. That's so. You ever watch mixed martial arts on TV? And you get this little guy against someone who's big as Andre the Giant, for God's sakes. That little squirt winds up winning the fight. It's what you know. It's not your height and girth. Look at Manny Look at Pac-Man. I recently I've been watching some of his older fights. I think I've seen 4 or 5 in one night. I like Manny. Um, Geez, unbelievable. See, Manny does not have a long reach. So what he has to do to get in on there, he has to find a way to get in close to whoever he's fighting. A lot of the disadvantages are when the opponent has longer arms, which Manny does not have. So Manny's thing is he's got to get in close. He's got to find an opening. And this is what you do with the shitheads on YouTube. You get in close and find an opening and you attack. Manny did a good job of that. It didn't matter how big the other guy was, or how long his reach was. Well, they got to be within a certain weight class, no matter what. But, Manny does not have a long reach at all. I got to give him credit. I got to give the guy credit. I found myself watching a number of his fights. He lost the one that time against Mayweather. I don't know. He's supposed to have another fight against Mayweather. Did that ever happen? I haven't been listening too closely to this, but is Manny ever going to fight again? Or did Mayweather say, fuck it, no, I'm retired, or I'm not going to fight? Did you know one of the Manny's fights alone, one of them I was watching, 25 million US dollars for one fight. Now go get your calculator out and calculate what that transfers into PHP. You'd be amazed. It's amazing. But I got to give credit to Manny. Why? Because he shows that no matter how small he is, short reach, that if you know what you're doing, you can be successful in what you're doing. Because knowledge is just as powerful as his short arms and his punches. That's right. This guy's like one of the richest people in the Philippines today. Yachts, mansions, even in America, business ventures. But he's generous. That's what I like about him. How many times he's been to some towns and gave out 1,000 notes to how many people? He didn't have to do that. He don't need the publicity. They like Manny because he represents the struggle. Manny came from a poor family. Manny deserves all the success in the world. So a Filipino guy is my hero, and Manny is my hero because he stands for the Filipino people's struggles. And he's not just a rich, greedy man who is not only has the power of money or the power of being in politics as a senator. Wow. But the man exhibits generosity all the time. He's giving back to the people when his own government is not helping the people. What do you say about a man like that? He is. I would love to shake this guy's hand. Just to shake his hand is all good for me. I would like to see him in person. I know he's not much taller than me. What is he? Is he 5'8"? I'm not even that. I'm 5'7". And if I think you're a good person, I'm going to let you know. If you've done good for the people out here, I'm going to let you know that too. But if you've done bad to the people out here, I'm going to let you know that too. And he's willing to take the money that people give him for his effort. Maybe he's not like working a 9-to-5 job. Well, actually, he's a senator. But when he gets out into that ring, sponsors. Okay, do you know how much money's being bet on the fight? I was watching a recent fight. I forgot who he was fighting with. It was a black gentleman, and no, it was Mayweather. Back in, I forgot what it was. And they showed some famous person in the audience. And already said, this guy's got $250,000 on Manny winning. Well, Manny didn't win that particular fight. It goes to show you that there's so much money going around on events like this. Millions and millions of dollars are being spent outside of the ring, and phenomenal money. All the rich people putting bets. But anyway, the show is not about Manny, but I just want to say that there are good people out there. And I will never say a bad thing about Manny, the Pac-Man. Never say anything bad about him at all. It will be an honor. I'm not usually starstruck by anyone. But I could sit down and have a fucking cup of whatever with that guy would be a total honor to me. Total honor. It's people like this you want to look up to. When people do good for others. When they're not people that are trying to hurt others. He ain't 5'7". How many times has Barry said that? How many times has Barry said that? He said he was even taller than that once. He's 5'4" at his best. That's if he straightens up his back. He could appear to be 5'5" if he didn't have the spinal deformation going on, which happens with age with some people, but happens with other situations going on. You saw the picture in front of my house when Hagante came over. Did you not see? Ouch, my arm. My arm. Did you not see that picture? Anyway, I got to shower up here. I'm waiting too long. What is it? Fucking 9:30 already? Jesus Christ. I've been on here an hour and 22 minutes. I heard that Barry claimed he was 5'10". Yeah, he must have shrunk 6 inches then or something. I don't know. Barry says a lot of things, folks. So does Ricky. I mean, it's real because they say it. But unfortunately for Ricky, Mr. Richard Jarrett, he's got so much shit against him right now that, and he knows it. He's wacky, we know that, but he's not that wacky that he doesn't realize when his back is in a corner. He don't realize it. He knows what he's doing wrong. He's very conscious of what he does. But when your quest is to try to make as much money on your show as you can, you will do illegal things. You will say criminal things. That's what Barry did. He said, fuck, I'm going to take my chances. What Barry said. Well, it didn't work out that way for him, did it? What do you think about YouTubers doing paid consultations? Brevis said he's starting to do Brevis? Excuse me. cough on that one. Consultations on what? How to fuck over women and impregnate them and throw them away. How to become a good alcoholic. How to find every sleazy bar in Cebu City. You don't need to pay anybody for that. I think paid consultations are okay. I mean, I wouldn't spend an hour of my time for free. Where all our time is worth something. Well, come on, man. Shit, consultation. Nobody's an expert on the Philippines about women or the Philippines culture itself. I've been out here 7.5 years. Let's say I've been out here a long time. I'm no expert on the Philippines, man. I'm no expert on Filipinos. I know a lot about the subject matter, but I'm no expert. Yeah, I know. Ain't that funny? Look, all good things come to an end, my friends, as this show has to come to an end right now. All good things come to an end. Okay? People are in their glory. What happens? This show just falls apart. People long form the show and they lose all their subs. They're going to cry like a baby. Cry like a baby. Consults from what? An idiot's giving a consult to another idiot. Only on YouTube, man. Only on YouTube. Isn't that amazing, folks? So was Barry Jordan a pervert? Yes, he was. Yes, he actually was. In more ways than one. More ways than one. Tell you what, dude. One thing I'm not going to do with a woman is lick her fucking asshole. And Barry was an ass licker. He was an ass licker. Inflation. Anybody ever licked a chick's asshole? You ever go that far? Not me. No. I'm not going to enter it either. Worst thing you could ever do. You'll regret it later on in time. Don't ever do that. Barry was an ass licker. Unfortunately, for a woman out there, it was an ex-girlfriend of his that came on his show and he said some really private shit that should not have been said about what they did in the bedroom. That guy will lick the balls on a raccoon. That's how low this guy is. Nor do you grab your wife's tits on camera either and have your wife make out with another woman. That's another taboo thing you shouldn't do on here. I'm just trying to tell you in a nutshell that it's unfortunate for us out here, but we got some really sick mofos out there that don't see themselves as being such because they're so used to their own behavior and what comes out of their mouth that they think they're righteous. That's called being a narcissist. Okay, that's what it is. I've had my salad tossed many times. I lost salads too. Yeah. No, that's disgusting. I'm sorry. I only go so far. I'll never talk about what I do in a relationship sexually, but I will tell you that that's the nowhere zone that I'm going to go with anyone. That's just ain't going to happen. Nor the other way around. Ain't going to go there. Never going to go there. Never been there. It's a demilitarized zone. Well, it's up to you what you like to do. Yeah, I know. Porn movie. Life is not a porn movie. I think a lot of guys and women that really get involved with porn is to live up to certain expectations. And that's what makes a lot of these guys fail. And a lot of women get disappointed because what you see on porn, unless it's an amateur porn, but if it's a regular, professional porn, basically they get the guys with the biggest dongs and, unrealistic sizes for the average man, absolutely. And a lot of times, these guys can't finish the job. It's cut into segments. You think that it's kind of a free flowing type of video. It's really not. Let's just say that all the acrobatics and different things that are done on porn movies is not the norm. They're porn movies. The average guy does not do 1,001 sexual stunts. He's either on top or he's on behind. The whole idea is to get off, and you don't have to hang from a trapeze and do it on a trapeze to copulate. It's all bullshit. If you want to really watch those porns, watch amateur ones that are real. Real couples, whatever, that decide to be a little bit of an exhibitionist. They put themselves on there. Pornhub is one place that everybody goes to. I've been on there before. It's not something I do on a regular basis, but I've seen this. I've seen Pornhub. I admit that I've been on there looking, but it never really did anything much for me. But the one thing I have noticed, though, is that the only porn on there that's even worth watching is just that everyday people doing everyday things, you know. The so-called porn stars on there. It's all, you know, it's all staged. What you think is happening in there is not necessarily what's happening on there. These guys get burned out too. Some can't even get an erection after a while, nor do they have anything to deliver out of that tool that you think is being delivered naturally. And I don't even want to go into it and think about that. Let's just leave it at that. Yeah, Philippines is #1 most watched on Pornhub. Oh, really? Well, you know, what people do in their bedrooms is their own business, really. I don't particularly want to know about it, okay? Now, people can use porn as a stimulant for sex. That's pretty common. But if you think what's going on in those porns, they're professional made. There's editing, too. Contrary to people believe, they think that the bigger the dong is, the more pleasurable it is for a woman. That's so far from the truth. You could hurt a woman. Now, visually to a woman, it might be visually exciting, but when a guy inserts it, it may not be as exciting to that woman as she thought it was. There are guys that are huge, and it doesn't work for them. It doesn't work. They have to wind up masturbating or something on the woman because, God, I can't believe I'm talking about this. But it's a fact. Bigger is not necessarily better. It's not. Wow. Looks like I got all my real likers out there because I got 15 watching and 15 thumbs up, so that must be my good subscribers. Many vloggers are now charging. It's a trend is what it is. It's a joke. Hey, you know what? More power to them. They can get away with suckers like that are willing to give them $50 for a consultation. Hey, man, you know what? More power to you, man. If you could get some jerk-offs out there that are that desperate to pay you $50 just to have the pleasure and privilege of talking to a very infamous person who claims that they're knowledgeable about this and that, you deserve it. Been an interesting show, hasn't it? It certainly has. But to every beginning, there has to be an end. I got to go, folks. I got to shower up. Okay. I already did my exercise, and I'm just sweaty. See what's going down today. I don't think I'll be doing another show today, so I don't think I'll tell you, really, is set your notification button on here. It's the best thing I could actually tell you. I don't really schedule my shows. I love doing shows like this because we're able to kind of satisfy everybody's need on here. We talk about interesting things. We can incorporate a little bit of the drama, the goings on YouTube. So it's a good, I don't know, call it eclectic mix. That works real well for me. It gives people a little of what they're looking for and a little what they're not looking for, you know. And not everybody wants to hear about my health topics and all that other shit. And a lot do, you know. But if necessary, I will talk about the community. But I'm not going to dwell on it. I just don't want to dwell on it. I know what you're into, but I'm sorry. I can't be like 100% on that all the time. I just can't be. I'm sorry. No, I can't be. All right, guys, I got to go. It was a pleasure having you here. For those that have contributed in a dialogue with me here, I really appreciate your thoughts. If you haven't subscribed to my show, please consider. Our subscriptions are going up, not like phenomenally because we're earning them. As you can see, I'm obviously not buying them, or else I'd be way over where I am right now. Look at the slow progression, and I'm not buying them, obviously. So there you go. Okay, and I'm not charging anybody any consultation fees. We're not doing any of that shit. It don't really matter to me, okay? I'm surviving. Even when the monetization gets straightened out on my show, I'm not going to be dependent on any funds I may get on my show. for my very survival. That's not the way it is, but a lot of people, unfortunately, for themselves, are doing that. Okay, later, guys. Appreciate you being here. Remember, I'm here because you're there. And don't believe everything you hear on YouTube. Only believe me, of course.